Hello everyone, in this video we are going to study about high voltage testing of electrical apparatus. It is very necessary to ensure that electrical equipment is capable of withstanding over voltages, which may be either due to natural cause or system oriented ones. Hence, testing various electrical equipment for over voltage is necessary. High voltage testing for following electrical equipments are done: insulators, bushing, isolator and circuit breaker, cables, transformer and surge arrestor. Before going into the high voltage testing procedures for the following electrical equipments, let us go through few definitions of the terms that will be used here. First one, disruptive discharge voltage. This is defined as the voltage which produces loss of dielectric strength in an insulation. It is that voltage at which electrical stress in the insulation causes a failure, which includes collapse of voltage and passage of current. Second, flashover. When a discharge takes place between two electrodes in a gas or a liquid or over a solid surface in air, it is called flashover. Puncture. If the discharge occurs through a solid insulation, it is called as puncture. Withstand voltage. The voltage which has to be applied to a test object under specified conditions in a withstand test is called withstand voltage. 50% flashover voltage. This is the voltage which has a probability of 50% flashover when applied to a test object. 100% flashover voltage. The voltage that causes a flashover at each of its application under specified condition when applied to test objects is 100% flashover voltage. Creepage distance. It is the shortest distance on the contour of the external surface of the insulator unit. AC test voltages. Alternating test voltages of power frequency should have a frequency range 40 to 60 kHz and should be approximately sinusoidal. A deviation of 7% can be considered in this system. Impulse voltages. Impulse voltages are characterized by polarity, peak value, time to front and time to half peak value. The time to front is defined as 1.67 times to the time between 30% and 90% of the peak. Let us go to the first topic of testing equipments for high voltage. The first one is test on insulators. Normally, tests on insulators are conducted in two ways: type test and routine test. Type tests are basically done on samples when design changes are introduced. Routine tests are done to ensure reliability of individual test objects and also quality and consistency of material used to manufacture. The high voltage test includes the following. It is categorized into three: power frequency test, impulse test, pollution test. Power frequency test is further classified into dry and wet flashover test, dry and wet withstand test. Impulse test is classified into two: impulse withstand test and impulse flashover test. Let us see the meaning of all these methods. First one, dry and wet flashover test. AC voltage of power frequency is applied across insulator and increased at a uniform rate of about 2% per second of 75% of estimated voltage to such a value that breakdown occurs along the surface of insulator. If the test is done under dry condition, it is called as dry test, while if it is done under a rain condition, it is called as wet test. The second one, dry and wet withstand test. Voltage specified with relevant specification is applied under wet and dry condition for a period of 1 minute with an insulator mounted in service condition. The system should withstand the voltage. Third, impulse withstand test. By applying standard impulse voltage of specified value under dry condition with positive and negative polarity of wave, if 5 consecutive wave does not puncture, insulator passes the test. If 2 application causes flashover, then insulator undergoes failure. If 1 failure occurs, then the insulator has to go through additional 10 tests. Impulse flashover test. It is done as above with a specified voltage. Probability of failure is determined for 40% and 60% or 20% and 80% failure values, since it is difficult to adjust test voltages to exactly 50%. The average of the two results are taken for the analysis. Insulation should not damage during test. Slight marking or chipping of cement is allowed. The third type of test is pollution test. Pollution is caused due to dust, microorganisms, flies, industrial pollution like smoke, petroleum vapor, dust, coastal pollution, which causes corrosive and hygroscopic salt layers, desert pollution causing sandstorm, which causes deposition of sand and dust, ice and fog deposits. Usually for a pollution test, salt fog test is considered. In this regard, maximum withstand voltage is applied and artificial salt fog is created around the insulator. If flashover occurs within 1 hour of the test is repeated again. Testing of bushing. The testing of bushing for overvoltages are carried out in 3 methods. First, power frequency test. Second, impulse voltage test. Third, thermal test. Power frequency test is carried out in 5 methods. Power factor voltage test, internal or partial discharge, momentary withstand test at power frequency, 1 minute withstand test at power frequency, visible discharge at power frequency. Impulse voltage test is done in 2 ways, full wave withstand test and chopped wave withstand test. Let us go through these methods. Power factor voltage test. In this test, the bushing is set up as in service or immersed in oil. It is connected such that the line conductor of high voltage goes to high voltage side and the tank or earth to detector side of shearing bridge. Voltage is applied up to the line value in increasing steps and then reduced. The capacitance and power factor are recorded. This is called as power factor voltage test. Internal or partial discharge test. This test is to find deterioration of failure due to internal discharges caused in the composite insulation of bushes. This is done using internal or partial discharge arrangements. Momentary withstand test at power frequency. This is done as per Indian standard specification, that is IS 2099, applied to bushings. The test voltage is applied and the bushing has to withstand without flashover or puncture for a minimum of 30 seconds. 1 minute wet and dry withstand test at power frequency. Here, power frequency is applied to the circuit and the bushing has to withstand the voltage up to 1 minute without puncture or flashover. Visible discharge test at power frequency. This test is to determine radio interference in the service unit. The test is conducted in dark room for any discharge. No discharge other than from arcing horns or grading rings should be visible to observers in a dark room. Full wave withstand test. The bushing is tested for either polarity voltages for 5 consecutive full wave applied if the test object has withstood subsequent application, then it passes the test. Chopped wave withstand test. It is same as full wave withstand test and it is done for high voltage bushings of 220 kilovolt and 400 kilovolt. Thermal test. Temperature rise test is done at temperature below 40 degrees Celsius at a rated power frequency. The steady temperature rise should not exceed 45 degrees Celsius. Thermal stability test is done for bushings rated 132 kilovolt. The next topic is testing of isolator and circuit breaker. The most important step carried out on circuit breaker are short circuit test. The method of conducting short circuit test are direct test and synthesis test. Direct test is done in two ways, using short circuit generator as source and using power utility system or network as source. For synthesis method, direct testing in network or in the field is done, direct testing in short circuit test laboratory, synthesis testing of circuit breaker, composite testing, unit testing, testing procedure and asymmetrical tests are done for following synthesis test. Let us go through the first method of synthesis test, that is direct testing in network or in the field. Circuit breakers are tested for their ability to break circuit under normal load conditions or under short circuit conditions in the network. This is done during the period of limited energy consumption or when electrical energy is diverted to other sections of network which are not included in the test circuit. This method has got its disadvantages, like circuit breaker can be tested only up to a specified voltage and capacity of that network. This test is done by only at light load condition. The second method of synthesis test is direct testing in short circuit laboratories. To test the circuit breaker at different voltages and at different short circuit currents, short circuit laboratories are provided. Let us have a look at a schematic diagram of basic elements in a short circuit test laboratory. It consists of a short circuit generator in association with circuit breaker, reactor, and measuring devices. A making switch indicates the short circuit, and master circuit breaker isolates the test device from source at the end of predetermined time set on a test sequence controller. Also, master circuit breaker can be tripped if test devices fail to operate properly. The third type of synthesis test is synthesis testing of circuit breaker. Due to very high interrupting capacities of circuit breaker, it is not suitable to have a single source to provide required short circuit. Hence, short circuit is obtained as regards to the intensity of current and recovery voltage as a combination of effect of two sources, that is AC current and high voltage. At instant of circuit breaking, high current source is disconnected and high voltage source is applied with absolute precision is a point to be noted in this type of. Let us go through the circuit setup for synthesis testing of circuit breaker. Here we have VC as low voltage high current generator, LC as current controlling inductor, LV as controlling choke, zero point 0.6 as trigger gap, CV as capacitance to charge to EV to give recovery voltage, C0 is capacitor to control transient voltage recovery. We have 1 as master circuit breaker, 3 as main switch, 4 auxiliary breaker, T is test breaker, with auxiliary breaker and test breaker closed. The closing of main master circuit breaker causes current to flow to test circuit breaker. At T0, test circuit breaker begins to operate and master circuit breaker becomes ready to clear generator circuit. At T0, opening of auxiliary circuit breaker occurs. Here we have current IC flowing in the circuit. At T1, time T1, trigger gap 6 is fired, because of which IV current flows through test breaker, allowing both IV and IC at point T1. At T2 time, auxiliary circuit breaker clears and interrupts current IC, because of which IC starts dropping at T2 while we have IV at T2 time period. At T3, IV becomes 0, and because of which we have transient recovery voltage, and this is zero base line. The fourth testing in synthesis test is composite testing. In this method, the breaker is first tested for its rated breaking capacity at a reduced voltage and afterwards for rated voltage at low current. But power estimation of breaker performance cannot be achieved here. Next is unit testing. When large circuit breaker of very high voltage rating are to be tested and where more than one break is provided per pole, the breaker is tested at its rated voltage and current. Testing procedure. The circuit breakers are tested for their breaking capacity B and making capacity M. Circuit breaker calibration of circuit breaker generator is tested for following duty cycles: B3, B3B at 10%, 30% and 60% of rated symmetrical breaking capacity, B3 MB, 3 MB, MB at 100% breaking capacity with a recovery voltage not less than 95% of rated service voltage. Here 3 represents 3-minute time interval given in between making and breaking capacity. Power factor in this test is generally 1.15 to 0.3. Asymmetrical test. During asymmetrical breaking, one test cycle is repeated in which DC component at that instant of contact separation is not less than 50% of AC component. The next topic for testing of electrical equipment is a cable. Different tests are performed on a cable which can be classified as mechanical test, thermal duty test, dielectric power factor test, power frequency withstand voltage test, impulse withstand voltage test, partial discharge test, life expectancy cycle. High voltage test on a cable is performed in 3 ways: routine test, type test, impulse test. Cables are basically tested to withstand voltages using power frequency AC, DC and impulse voltage. During the time of manufacturing, the entire cable is passed through high voltage test at rated voltage to check continuity of the cable. As routine test, cable is tested by applying AC voltage of 2.5 times the rated value for 10 minutes. If the cable withstand the test, it passes the test. In type test, the test is done on cables using DC test by applying 1.8 times the rated DC voltage of negative polarity for 30 minutes. If cable withstands the test, it passes the test. In impulse test, impulse voltage of prescribed magnitude as per specified specification is applied. Cable should withstand 5 applications without damage to pass the test. The next testing of transformer for high voltages. It is basically done in 3 methods: induced overvoltage test, partial discharge test, impulse testing of transformer. Induced overvoltage test. The transformer are tested for overvoltage by exciting secondary side of the transformer from a high voltage frequency AC source of 100 to 400 Hz to about twice the rated voltage. This reduces co-saturation and limits charging current. It is used to check insulation withstand test. Partial discharge test is done on windings to access the discharge magnitude and radio interference level in a transformer. The location of fault by traveling waves are done in this method. Impulse testing of transformer is done to determine ability of insulation of transformer to withstand transient voltages. It is done using both full wave and chopped wave produced by rod gap for chopping time of 3 to 6 microsecond. Here we have an equivalent circuit of transformer winding for impulse testing of a transformer. We have inductance L, capacitance Cs in series, and capacitance Cg, which is shunt capacitance to the ground. The voltage distribution along the transformer winding will not be uniform. If an impulse wave is applied to such a network, the voltage distribution along the element will be uneven, so oscillations will be set up in producing voltage much higher than the applied voltage. Due to short circuit, the impedance of transformer is reduced. It also reduces the sensitivity of detection. The procedure for impulse testing are applying impulse voltage of magnitude 75% of BIL, that is basic impulse level of transformer under test. Second, one full wave voltage of 100% of BIL, two chopped waves of 100% BIL, and one full wave of 75% BIL. We have a waveform plotted between voltage in kilovolt and time in microsecond. We have output waveforms for chopped wave and full wave. Testing of surge arrestor for over voltages. The first method, surge arrestor or lightning arrestor are the most reliable device to protect the power system against transient voltages due to lightning and switching surges. In this testing of surge arrestor or surge diverter, the first one is power frequency spark over voltage. This is a routine test. The arrestor has to withstand at least 1.5 times rated value of voltage. The voltage is applied for 5 successive applications. The test is done under both dry and wet conditions. The second method is 100% standard impulse spark over test, which is done in order to ensure the diverter operates positively for over voltages. The test is done for both positive and negative polarity waveforms. The test starts at voltage level with no spark or flashover until 100% flashover occurs, which is required for spark over voltage. The next type of test is front of wave spark over test, which is similar to 100% standard impulse spark over test. Here impulse waves are provided for the test. It is used to ensure surge diverter flashes for every steep fronted waves of high peak. The time is measured and voltage and time are plotted for the input waveforms that are provided as impulse waves. Thank you.